All right, we are live, and my Rode Podcaster mic, after like 10 years, I think it's finally done.
Yeah,
So,
you sound like you're on a different mic, so
yeah, I'm right here on this one.
okay.
So I guess that'll work. It may be the USB cable. I don't know. Like, it was weird. I disconnected the mic, right, and then I got it all taken off my desk, and then I was like, let me just give it one more try. And so I I plug it back in, and it starts working. So I'm like, okay, it works again. So then I get it all set up again, and then it stops working. So I don't know. It is like 10 years old, though. Pluralsight gave it to me when I made my first courses, when they give you a mic to make your courses. So yeah, we'll see. How's this one? How's this boom mic sound?
It sounds okay until you turn around and actually talk directly to it.
And then blows
then
out.
It distorts.
Oh, okay. Well, I can be further away from it, I suppose, but
it only seems like it when you turn your head and talk directly into it.
So. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, I don't know. Maybe I'll get another replacement if that one doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'll just run to Best Buy.
Yeah, I wound up rescuing. Boy, this might tick some people off. So I'm pretty involved in the Republican Party in Utah. And the county party was putting together, because they're the ones that run all the caucus meetings that got postponed.
Yeah.
Postponed to whenever this crisis ends.
Right.
And so the county party chair has been, reaching out to people and, hey, folks, here's how we're handling things, right? Because we do a caucus where you elect delegates, and the delegates go to the convention and elect and nominate the nominee.
Right.
And so, they basically just had to coordinate all of that stuff. And so he held a Facebook Live and was telling everybody how it was going to go. And of course, his microphone was screwed up.
Oh, yeah.
That's what that reminded me of. So, yeah, I texted the vice chair because he was there with him. I was like, dude, nobody can understand what he's saying. And he's like, well, I don't know what to do. I said, let me bring you a mic. Where are you?
Yeah. Nice.
So, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. California's on complete lockdown, shelter in home, or whatever they're calling it. Instead of calling it lockdown, what do they call it? Shelter at home, or home shelter? I don't know what it is, but
shelter in place is the term I keep
shelter
hearing.
In place, yeah. It just means burn the Constitution.
Yeah, stay where you are.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that we have, like, I mean, I only saw one article. I only saw one thing. There was some article on Fox News where a former judge had said, oh, it's kind of interesting right now that we're just not caring about constitutional rights, which are supposed to apply in wartime or peacetime, which are so fundamental to what the country is based on. So that's a scary spot that we're at. We're just basically trading the freedom for.
Yeah. Salt Lake County, they issued a statement that said, if you're in a gathering of more than 10 people, we're going to fine you and charge you with a Class B misdemeanor. And I looked at my wife and I said, the First Amendment says we have the right to free assembly. So exactly. I'm tempted to get together with 50 of my friends that I know won't get me sick, go up there, dare them to do it, and then defy the order and, take it to court, because it's not constitutional. They cannot tell you that you cannot get together with other people. They can advise you not to, and that's more or less what the state's done here. And the state countermanded it within like 2 hours. They're like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, everything is unconstitutional. It would have been a much better approach but you just can't control people. I mean, you can ask them, right? Obviously, like, reasonable, sensible people, and majority of people, like 90% of people, will be reasonable, sensible people.
No, that's the problem. Majority of people are not reasonable and sensible. There are way too many idiots running around on Florida beaches to call that reasonable and sensible.
I don't know. I mean, it's like someone had posted my Facebook group, or no, they posted on one of my YouTube videos. They're like, well, what would happen if this virus like had 10 times the mortality rate and was that much more dangerous? Then, from a libertarian perspective, how would you deal with that? And wouldn't you need some kind of government control and whatnot. And the answer is real simple. If it were 10 times more deadly, people would be afraid to leave their homes. You wouldn't have to tell them to stay in their homes.
Right.
Okay. So people don't. Okay. Let's do some.
But my deal is, before you go there, Manny, on most of this is, the thing that's scary about it from the perspective that I'm hearing John talk about it, and from my own perspective, is that if the next emergency is we've put some things in place, through the US Congress, and people are rioting, that's a national emergency, we're going to force everybody to stay home. Right. Yeah, that's scary, right? When it's a political means of, keep pushing people down so that they don't dissent publicly. And so right now, it's a national health thing, but if it's a political crisis, people should be able to get together, rally, and go fight it.
Yeah. Well, I'll just preempt you, Manny, because I'm just going to preemptively agree with everything that you're going to say, because I totally agree with everything in terms of the danger and the way to combat it, and that staying at home is the smartest thing to do, and all of those things. But regardless of any of those things, it doesn't matter. It doesn't trump constitutional rights. People died, millions of people died, hundreds of millions of people died in World War II.
We're going to have that show today.
Well, they did. Hundreds of millions of people died in World War II. And we're basically spitting on their graves when we're saying that, we're going to take away the constitutional rights because we're in danger. We're in danger. Like, fuck. I mean, the guys that were storming the beaches of Normandy, they were in fucking danger, right? They died and they fought in order to preserve constitutional rights.
Let's assess what the average person, how smart the average person is. All right. Let's assess that.
Yeah. It doesn't
matter. Assess how smart
or
how understanding average person is of the reality, of the ground reality. Let's assess that, right? Because math is a fucker. People don't understand math. And until people understand math, we cannot depend on them to understand anything. And people don't understand compound effect. They cannot comprehend linearly. People live life in linear fashion. Everything in life is linear to people, but life has compound effects which will bite you in the ass so bad you have no idea, right? I'm not talking about you guys. I'm saying life.
Yeah, for sure.
Talk about money.
Oh, it bites us too, right? I mean, it ramps up so fast all of a sudden that you just didn't see it coming. I mean, it hits everybody. Everybody's going to have something like that where.
Sure.
We assumed a predictable linear effect, and then it came around and it's like, wow, that went quick.
The average bear is really smart, right? Let's assume the average bear is really smart, which they're not. In that case, let's say, Chuck, I'm going to ask you a question, a mathematical question on exponential effects, and I need you to give me an answer right away, just like an average bear will be able to do that. Okay, I'll ask both of you, and I'll count down to 3, and I want to know what your answer is. Okay, math, which is exponential, which is virality. I'm going to ask you that. I want to put you guys on the spot to see how much the average bear knows about math, or will be able to do if you guys can or cannot do it. Okay. Because the assumption is that, we're fine. We know all the problems.
No, I agree with
it's not a big deal. We know it's going to be okay. Some people will die and everything will be okay. Do we? Okay. You guys are making the assumption that it's not such a big deal because some people will die and some people will not. And that's fine. 1% people will die. So fucking.
I didn't make that assumption.
No. I'm saying this. I don't care if 25% of the world population has to die to preserve the constitutional rights that we have and freedom as we have as human beings. It needs to be done if that's the cost. That's not too great of a cost to pay. And I'm not alone in that thinking historically. And that is the only reason why we live in a country today where we have the freedoms that we have, is because enough men had balls way back then to think the same way that I'm telling you that we should all be thinking now, which is that there is no price that you can pay that is too great for freedom.
And the other end of that is that it's not to say that wouldn't be horrific, right? If 25% of people died.
It doesn't mean you have to exercise your freedom, right? Like, I'm not going to go out and hang out with people, Okay, I'm not going to go out and spread the plague. Like that's it. I don't have to exercise that freedom, but to have that freedom is essential.
Yeah.
To have the quote unquote, the idea of like having that freedom and using that freedom to do whatever you want to do is great until you're not affecting other people. When you're affecting other people, when you're affecting other people's freedom, then it has to be challenged.
Yeah, but you're not affecting other people's
when
freedom.
You're hurting other people, it has to be challenged.
Correct. When you're hurting other people, but that's why the Constitution provides those rights that are your own personal rights. They do not infringe upon the rights of other people.
When you're hurting other people, your freedom should be in question.
You're not hurting other
tell
people.
Me that you're gonna go take a knife around this whole neighborhood or a gun around, touting the gun around and saying, hey, it's my freedom. I can do whatever hell you want. That's what's happening right now. Everyone who's walking around is a freaking vessel, of disease. Yes.
They could be carrying it. Manny, do you have the virus?
I don't know. Neither do you.
That's the point. Is you don't know. Like if I know that you have the virus, that's a different thing, right? Hey, look, we're going to quarantine you for the good of everybody else.
For 14 days, and by that time you've already infected multiple people.
That's fine. Yeah. But you're restricting other people's freedom without knowing whether or not they actually are a vector of infection right now.
Right.
And that's the problem, because we don't know who is going to cause this.
It doesn't trump constitutional rights.
What do you mean constitutional right? You are, every human being right now is a carrier of that disease if they come in contact.
Well, then go amend the Constitution so that in an emergency that can be suspended.
What's that?
Then go amend the Constitution so that in an emergency that can be suspended.
Well, no, it is always there in the Constitution that if you're doing criminal things, you need to be stopped.
Yeah, but it's not against the law to go outside.
It is against the law if you're going to affect other people's lives. If you're going to go, around with a knife.
I see your moral argument, and I agree with your moral argument. You shouldn't be going out and doing that. However, the supreme law of the land is that you can go assemble.
The supreme law of the land is not to go around hurting other people.
You're looking at potential versus actuality. So if I go,
that is the truth. That as humans, we are the vessel. We are the carriers of this.
No, if I have a knife, it's different than me stabbing someone with a knife.
But if you're just brandishing it all over the place,
it's fine.
Walking really close to someone and putting it in their face.
I was really looking forward to talking about business today.
That's also fine. That's also fine as long as you don't make an actual threat.
No, you are a threat to society at that point.
No, there's no law against it. There's nothing.
Yes, you are a threat to society. You are going to be putting a knife to everyone's neck and
Yeah, but common sense is not the law.
Yeah, you can't preemptively arrest people for crimes they didn't commit.
The problem is that you are a danger if you are outside and in contact with other people.
No, that's an opinion, first of all, and it's a narrative, and it may be true, but it's not necessarily true. You may also be a danger if you're driving your car. Maybe we should stop people from driving cars, because when you're driving your car, you're likely to kill someone. In fact, you're much more likely to kill someone with your car than you are by spreading a virus, because how many people die of car accidents per day? So,
all right, I honestly, I think we should just stop right here. I think everybody's made their point, but I really want to talk about where everybody's at.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's going to benefit anybody to hash this out.
Before we do that, I want to give you guys a real easy math quiz. Okay.
Okay. Let's do an easy math quiz. All right.
Real easy math.
You can have the last word. It's fine.
I just want to ask math because I don't believe the average bear knows math or understands.
I'm not sure which bears know math, but Yogi Bear. I'm not sure which bears know math.
Well, to your point too, people have a real hard time conceptualizing things like, when it grows to affecting 1 million people, what 1 million people actually looks like.
Right.
So you have that issue too.
Yeah. And when it's 1 million, how quickly goes to 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Anyways, let me ask you a question, Chuck. Okay.
4 quadrillion.
The clock starts right now. If 2 people are infected today and the rate of infection doubles every 3 days, how many people will be infected in 13 days? 30 days, 30 in a month. The clock starts around 5, 4, 3.
I would guess
2, One. Answer.
1.5 million.
2 million.
2 million. Both of you are wrong. You're just making shit up. You have no clue.
No.
True.
Yes.
What is the number?
2,000. You guys just
not 2,000.
It's 2,000.
It's not 2,000.
It's doubled every 3 days.
No,
It's
no.
2,048. It's 2,048.
It
It's
is.
2,048.
It's doubled for 30 days. You said 30 days.
Yes, every 3 days it doubles for 30 days.
Oh, I think you said every day it doubles for 30 days.
Dude, don't just,
No, I thought you said every day. That's a default question.
Go to right.
Right.
Anyways, you guys just make shit up because nobody
No.
understands.
Here, I'll tell you why. Because if you have it doubling every day for 30 days.
Every 3 days, I said it.
1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Okay. It would be 536 million if it doubled every day.
Right. So either ways, nobody understands. The problem is the average bear has no idea of compound effect and the power of compound effect, how dangerous it is. If two people start.
Well, I estimated high, and so did Chuck. So the average person would estimate high.
The average person has no clue. You guys are just guessing out of your ass. That's the problem.
But they would estimate high. They would guess out of their ass high.
No. I know you're setting yourself up.
No one would guess less than 2,000.
All right, time out.
Who would guess less than 2,000? Who would guess less than 2,000?
No. You guys are set up on this interview, so you have to look like, oh my God, look at me. I am exponentially creating this in my mind, and even then, it's not a fucking big deal.
No.
Yes,
no. I'm saying who would guess
because
less
your math
than
is
2,000?
wrong, guys. You don't know math. That's what I'm saying.
2,000 wasn't a large number.
I'm saying you guys don't know math.
No.
People were guessing more. People would guess more.
Some of the smartest people in the world don't know math. How do you?
I know math. I just don't have an intuitive sense of what that growth curve looks like to be able to answer it that quickly.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. People don't have an intuitive effect. If we have 10,000 people today infected, you know what happens?
I don't know what happens.
What happens? What happens in a month? I've already given you the data. Can you tell me?
Do you take 10,000 times 2,000?
It'll be 10 million.
Yeah.
10 million in a month.
Okay.
The problem is nobody knows these numbers. Nobody understands numbers. Nobody understands what happens.
No. The numbers are all over the place. Trust me. Every single fucking person on their Instagram is posting the numbers.
No.
Yeah. My feel though is that we're talking.
And every Facebook
and half of America doesn't believe
generator.
those numbers. Half of America doesn't believe those numbers. And not only that, they don't understand that the hospital system does not have the capacity to handle so many people who are going to go to the hospital.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. None of that matters.
That's what I was going to say. I think we're talking past each other.
Okay, we could have been like France, right? When Hitler marched into France, they're like, "Oh fuck, we don't want to die. Come on, just go ahead. Like, don't destroy our buildings and shit. Just come in. We'll just give up."
What does Hitler got to do with
this? That's it. And that's
what
it,
Hitler
right?
Got to do with this?
I'm saying that sometimes you have to decide that the freedom.
When every human being
sacrifice for freedom.
When every human being is a walking weapon,
it doesn't matter.
The weapon has to be if you are going to go threaten society, your freedom will be curtailed. You will be put in jail. That was always the case. It's the case today as well. If you are threatening society, your freedom should be curtailed.
It's not the case. You have to have.
If you are threatening society, your freedom should be curtailed. And if you are a human being,
absolutely
you're a carrier of a virus, you're threatening society.
Absolutely not. You're forgetting due process. You're forgetting due process.
Here's the issue.
You have to be convicted of a crime, and it has to be proven that you are a threat to society.
So you want everyone to be proven of their viral capabilities.
No, it doesn't work that way.
No, I'm asking you. You want everyone to be proven of their viral capabilities.
It doesn't work that way.
What do you mean it doesn't work?
You have to have a court of law. You have to have due process.
Well, and what about the societies that determine that people of another race or religion are a threat to society? That's where this argument breaks down. I mean, it's a different vector, and this one has a little bit more science behind it. But at the end of the day, it's a really dangerous argument to make because it can be spun to other things. Ultimately, I mean, it's not a comfortable
argument. I get your argument against racism and all that stuff. This is scientific.
No, it doesn't matter.
How do viruses spread? Do viruses spread without humans?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't
Why
matter.
does it not matter?
First of all,
all right.
You are becoming a vessel.
Let's just talk about something else.
It's a natural phenomenon. You cannot just give up
What is a
freedom
natural
just
phenomenon?
because to
Humans
save
spreading
lives.
this to humans is a natural phenomenon.
Correct.
When there is no need to do that.
There isn't a need to do it, but
Exactly.
well, there is a need to do it, right? Because what is to say that I need to go to work to provide food for my family, or I'll starve and die? So who determines what that need is? You can't say whether someone should stay home and that's okay for them to do, or someone should not. I'm not saying that. Again, I agree with you 100% on the virality, on the understanding of math, on the implications of it, on the best strategy to combat something like this for the most part. But what I don't agree is that under any circumstances, you can violate someone's constitutional rights. You can ask people to stay home. You can advise them, inform the public, and hopefully a majority of people do. But if you wanted to get 100% containment on the virus, you absolutely could. You could force every single person to stay home, absolutely, by penalty of death. What you would be giving up in order to save however many lives you saved with that would be something that you could never regain again. And that's the problem, is it's a slippery slope. And you have to not slide down that slope at all. You have to say constitutional rights trump all other things, and they can never be violated because they're inalienable rights.
To freedom. As much as you have the right to freedom, the other person also has the right to freedom to live. And you are encroaching on their freedom to live by spreading this virus all over the place.
That's not true. That is not true. It has to be proven in a court of law.
It is.
You have to have due process.
What is to be proven in the court of law?
A judge and jury, a jury of your peers. A jury of your peers that has to prove that you actually committed a crime. That you
all right, guys.
Did.
I'm going to get off.
Not the potential. Not the potential.
I'll let you carry this on.
Does it have to be proven that viruses spread from one human being to another?
Let's move past this because. All right. Okay. What were you asking about, Chuck?
I just wanted to know, first of all, how this is affecting you guys, because I mean, we did an episode last Friday, but it was like right when they were telling people, okay, school's shutting down, nobody can go anywhere, blah, blah, blah. I mean, is this impacting you guys at all? Like your businesses or, life in general? I mean, I have 4 kids at home that I usually don't have at home.
Yeah. Business is quite down.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's hard to see how it's gonna play out over the next few weeks, really.
I'm seeing a big drop in members and then in new members. So even with promotions, like there's still some new people coming in, but there's definitely a lot of drops. 2 of my coaching clients lost their jobs. So,
oh, wow.
Yep, already.
I've been seeing a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, I haven't run promotions. The promotion I was going to run, I didn't run it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that. I've been watching or studying other people's emails and marketing and all this stuff to understand how this is all going to play out. It's really hard to know. But I didn't want, so quite a few guys, they came out with their guns blazing and then they backtracked saying, oh, I'm sorry. Did you see the Rand Dice email?
Yeah. I'm not sure if that was like
who's
planned though. He's smart enough where he could have done that on purpose. Like he always like plays off this really nice guy, but there's like, he's kind of a devil. Like he's wily. Let's put it that way. He's wily. So when someone's wily, you don't know if they're like doing things for good or bad. So I could see that as an entire marketing strategy itself, but maybe, I don't know,
It's possible. They'll grow their email list and ultimately they'll sell a lot more over years. The assumption is that they will get shared and it'll get virality and all that stuff. Oh, virality.
Which should happen, right?
I shared.
Yeah,
I'm getting
in groups.
I'm hearing from a lot of potential sponsors that we're somewhere in the ballpark of getting started. Like they sounded promising, and then they're like, "Well, the stock market's down," so they cut everybody's budget, and so I'm in a holding pattern with a lot of those folks too. But the online conference is turning out to be getting some interest from sponsors.
Good.
And
yeah,
I did a thing. I didn't talk to you guys, but I did a thing. I was talking to some folks, and they were complaining that all of their dev meetups were canceled. About half of them were in Europe and half of them were in the States. And so I have set up online meetups for free. I'm asking folks to sponsor it, and I'll probably set up buy me a coffee or something for those. But yeah, a lot of those folks are I'm getting a lot of interest in sponsoring those as well. So it's kind of funny, you know, the virtual events are getting some traction for me where the podcasts really haven't been, at least for the last week.
well, right now I don't expect any, unfortunately, I don't expect any podcast activity to close right now. It's just too hard for businesses to make any decisions on
if it's not a sure thing,
sponsorships or marketing of any kind that they can't see the return on right away. So I feel you.
I did have one company that I talked to, and they gave me like an 85 to 90% guarantee that if I started an AI podcast, that they'd sponsor it. But I don't know if I'm really, I don't know.
Right now, I'm not.
I don't know how far to take that, because they sound certain, but everything else that we talked about that day was not certain.
Ask them to put the money down, and then you will do it. And if you don't do it, you will just return the money.
Exactly. Yeah.
Put it in a escrow or collateral, something like that if you need to. But they're just fucking. I'm not trusting anyone right now who says, "Hey, I'll do it if you do that," or "I'll pay you money when." By the way, guys, the new rule is the guy with the beard wins. So until you guys have a beard, you know, you guys are little boys.
We're all gonna have beards by the end of this.
I know, right?
And long hair.
Won't be able to go to the store and buy razors.
All Gillettes. Talking of which, okay.
Maybe there'll be like an underground barbershop.
Yeah.
They check.
So it's like I talked to John earlier in the week as well about this. I was considering for a while to go to India. Just like see my parents during this time of craziness, but then I'm still like, well, maybe not. But what I was talking to John about was, what do you do with business in this situation? Like, what do you like? How do we handle these kinds of crises? And of course, there's no clear answer. But one of the books that we were talking about earlier, Great by Choice by Jim Collins, that was a book that was really like interesting, because in that Collins said the great companies march into a crisis and they basically keep doing, they stick to their 20-mile march through the time of crisis. And the ones who were able to do that recovered or had good outcomes 29 out of 29 times in the research studies. But the companies that changed their tune and became a different, like they stopped doing the 20-mile march during the crisis, they had good outcomes 3 out of 29 times. Basically, they changed their strategy, they changed their dynamic, they changed whatever they had to change, or whatever they thought they had to change. And as a result, they got out. Basically, 10% of them had a good outcome, while almost 100% had a good outcome, who were able to consistently stay the course.
It's even just in personal lives, right? Because I talk to a lot of people, and they're like, a lot of people right now, they're just like watching Netflix and pigging out, right? Because they're like, this is only just like 2 weeks, I'm off from work. And so they're not exercising, they're not running, they're not eating healthy, they're not being productive, right? And that's fine if this only did last 2 weeks, but if it lasts 3 months, that's when you're fucked, right? And that's and the same thing in business, right? It's the same thing. Like a lot of people that are running businesses right now are like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to watch the news like for the next 2 weeks because this is important, right? And they're not actually working on their businesses. And then for 2 weeks, sure, it's not going to hurt too much, but you're going to develop that habit, and it's going to stretch out in 3 weeks and 4 weeks. And then if it goes for 3 months, again, you're going to be screwed. So that's why it's like so important to just like stay the course, to pretty much live your life as normal as you can and push forward, because maybe this is the new normal. What if, like, you know, what if this becomes the new normal for like the next year, where we're all like living inside our houses, and, you know, I mean, it could be, right? Like, so how are you going to adapt to that way of life? Then what if that becomes a new business normal, right? Like, you have to just keep on pushing on, otherwise.
Yeah. So I think what a lot of people fail to realize is that the normal could be, or quote unquote normal is not going to be normal, and the new normal is also going to get worse. But also that not until September might we see a reprieve in this whole thing.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm also doing, though, is that I'm doing what I can to kind of help support and maintain some normalcy for the community, you know, and that's where the meetups and the conferences come together, right? And yes, I'm going to be marketing the conferences at the meetups.
Yeah.
But you're doing a meetup in person?
No. Online. devchat.tv/meetups if you're listening to this and you're a developer. But yeah, so if I can, you know, but at least people have a place to go, right? They have a community that they can go to, and they can talk about work and code and that kind of a thing, and get some feeling of at least being part of a community if you can't go out and be with your coworkers or be with your friends or whatever. And you know, that's kind of what I'm going out of my way to offer is that kind of a thing. And then, you know, if we go back to normal in a few weeks, you know, if this Coloquine, whatever drug that's out there that looks like it's really promising, if that works out and they mass produce it and this is all over in a few weeks, then great, right? But if not, then, you know, we have something to hold on to for the next few months while we get this all figured out, and you have at least some form of stability. And that's what I'm trying to offer people.
Yeah, that's good, man. I think I'm like, it's hard to see what business trends will emerge.
There is no telling,
right? But
there's
the idea of virtual communities is already becoming like it's already starting to happen way more than I ever saw. Like people becoming yoga studios are taking it all online, creating the communities online. And if there's a way to continue to go down that road, I think the community aspect, like people still want to be connected even if we're far away from each other. Like just this, I look forward to this every freaking Friday morning, even if we're going to fight and bitch about the fact that, you know, you guys don't understand the reality of situation. but it's still, it's very powerful to just have that thing, and more so as people get isolated, which will happen over the next 6 months, as we know. This is what we need to. The key is to figure out what it is that people actually care for enough to want to invest any of their money in, because right now they don't have enough. Most people don't have enough money. What are you going to do, right?
The flip side on a lot of this, though, is that, I guess the flip side to the negativity that a lot of people are experiencing is that I've seen a lot of people just going way out of their way, right? Where they're organizing grocery pickups for older people, or they're out, making sure, just checking on their neighbors even, right? Hey, are you okay? Especially neighbors who either have somebody in their home that has some kind of like lung disease, or, you know, things that put them at risk. And so they're just not going anywhere and interacting with anyone. You know, they're making sure that they have what they need so that they don't have to put their family members at risk. And I've been really, really encouraged by a lot of that stuff. Some of the Facebook groups out there, it's like, hey, if you have extra stuff, right? And so people are like, well, I have an extra bottle of ibuprofen, or, you know, whatever. And other people are going, you know what, I really need, you know, whatever. And, you know, people are just dropping it off on their porch. I mean, it's been really, really heartening to me to see that. So I think there are some ups. I think there are some downs. But if you're not part of a community, I highly recommend that you go find one that, you know, you can be a part of and you can help other people in and that they can help you in.
So, yeah, I think part of this movement in some ways is going to be figuring out ways to bring people closer together in our own ways, whatever it might be.
Without bringing them closer together.
No, you guys want them.
If you know what I mean.
Together. But anyways.
I mean, they canceled church.
Oh my God. That's hell.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
We're not going to go down that path. You know how much I love my God. Yeah. So how do we, I guess, add to what you're doing rather than change everything you're doing? Like maybe, I don't know. How's your promotion
I keep trying
going?
to add to what I'm doing and you keep telling me no.
Well,
right now I don't know what to do anymore, man. I'm out of
well, it's,
I think all of us are out of
this is it though. This is the thing to remember.
Business stuff that you read about or hear about anyway. You find that need and you tackle it.
Well, this is, things will go back to somewhat normal, right? It'll be a different normal
eventually.
But you have to count on that. Like the people, the whole thing that, you know, the whole point you're making with the 20-mile march, Manny, and really the key of it is the idea that what happens is when, and this is just like with the stock market, with everything, right? What happens is some black swan or some unnormal thing happens, people lose their shit, and so they start modifying, they start trying to react to it and respond to it, and they make the wrong movements, right? It's like your car going out of control and then you steering, you know, in away from the turn instead of into it, right? Like you're supposed to, right? They make the wrong movements, and instead, like the people who win out are the ones who have the perspective that say, okay, you know what? Yeah, some shit is going down right now, but eventually things are going to get back to normal, and I'm going to position myself during this crisis while everyone else is eating their food stores and getting fat. I'm going to position myself to come out of this with the beach bod. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to position myself so my business comes out of this ready to go, whereas everyone else has been scrambling, trying to do all kinds of stupid shit and doing all these side hustles, trying to make ends meet, and they're screwing up their primary business line. That's why I think it's so important to just stay the course and to focus, is because that everyone, like, the opportunity is going to rise from here from two things. One thing is that it's going to be a thinning of the herd, in the sense that businesses are going to fail and your competitors are going to fail, right? Yeah, and it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? We've been due for that for a while.
It was about time for that. Yeah.
And the stock market, like the stock market drops and everybody freaking out about that.
Yeah.
I think we were due for a correction.
Yeah, that's true.
And then the second opportunity that is going to come is going to be from the people who survive, but they're not ready, right? It's the people that were hustling, doing some bullshit instead of their primary business. And then when it comes back on, you're ready online and you're going, and they're still like, oh shit, I'm scrambling. Now I'm trying to make up for lost time. So that's why I think it's better to just stay the course as much as possible. I mean, if you have to like do some things because you got to make ends meet, sure, that's fine. But aside from that, like,
but where is that line drawn? I think that's the challenge for most businesses today. Not everyone has reserves for 2 years to be able to sustain anything, right? So partly the lesson here is to have reserves. I think the great companies that were able to march to the 20-mile march were the ones who already had reserves to be able to march to the 20-mile march during times of insane crisis, something like Southwest and all those, Southwest Airlines and Intel and all these guys. But I think there's the lesson behind the lesson is also that we should have been better prepared, or anyone who's listening to this, or anyone who's in a business today should have taken this lesson to heed long time ago, which should be better prepared, because of, again, math is a bitch. It will bite you in the ass.
Well, look at even wars, right? Do you know what's one of the major factors that determines at least historically, now things have changed a little bit, but historically throughout history, what has determined whether or not someone wins or loses a war? It's always been food supply.
Resources.
That's been number one reason. Why did the Russians fail, and why did like so many times in history
getting the food supplies to them, the supply lines,
which is the thing, and that's the thing, is it's out sustaining the other person or the competition or surviving. Like, so that's why I said survival is key, right? Expect that we're going to be in a winter for 2 years. That's I think that, like, even you look at the Dow today and whatever in the market, it sort of recovered a little bit. I think it's still down now, but people are like, okay, oh, it's not so bad now, right? It's like at 19. Well, okay, that's because they haven't factored in what's going to happen 4 or 5 months down the road when airlines are shut down, and all of these, like, and Disney reports like a negative like earnings, and
they have Disney Plus, they'll be fine.
Yeah, well, even that's what people think, but I mean, fuck, how much does it cost to like operate, or like how much money they lose every single day that they're not having their theme parks open and their cruise lines and their fucking,
that's true,
resorts. Like, it's like Disney is mostly a property company.
Well, I think it's back up some today, because again, they had that promising looking trial.
But what I'm saying is the damage is already done.
Yeah,
like that many days of millions and hundreds of millions of dollars of loss for so many businesses, right? That many.
Yeah, they've already realized those losses.
That many 401ks that have been slashed right now, that are gonna, like, there's so many downstream effects that aren't gonna bite us until 4 or 5 months down the road, that it's best to just plan that it's going to be winter for 2 years. And if it doesn't, if I'm wrong and somehow things turn around and it's great, that's awesome. But be prepared that it's going to take 2 years before your business grows again. Like that would be a good thing to think in your head, to say, like, my business isn't going to grow for another 2 years. It's whatever level it's at, I'm going to try and sustain it at that level, but it's not going to grow for 2 years. That would be, like, again, just to be prepared for that, so that that if that does happen, you don't freak the fuck out every single month. So
yeah, it's too late for a lot of people now to go learn this lesson of saving and being prepared for the rough times. But this will be a lesson learned the hard way or the easy way, to save for the rough times.
The grasshopper.
Well, it's also good for people to just get back to focusing on the stuff that really matters, be it your family, especially if you have older relatives that are at risk that you're worried about, or kids that you're, whatever, your kids are at home, so you can spend a little more time with them, things like that. I think there are a lot of positives that are going to come out of this. It's just, the worldwide situation. Yeah, there's some aspects that are just, a little bit. It's easy to get pessimistic about them.
So, John, how's your promotion going? The Flow one?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know.
You doing a promo?
Yeah, I don't have any direct feedback on it. Like, I can look at the open rates. Oh, by the way, I got something. Well, I can't give you data on it yet, but this shit looks pretty awesome so far. We'll see. But let me take a look at the campaign so far. So broadcasts, we're looking at the first email has a 20% open rate, 19.91, 494 clicks.
Nice.
So the second email has 18% open rate, 342 clicks. Third email went out, I think today. Looks like 17% open rate and 277 clicks so far. So based on that, we should do well. I don't have the reporting, but check this out. Okay, remember I was telling you about a company called Get Emails, and I wasn't sure about how that works. I had it on my board to check it out. So what Get Emails does is this. Basically, you install some JavaScript on your web page, right? And then people come to your web page and it identifies them and knows their email address and their address and phone number because they have a huge database, and then it gives you a list of people that haven't opted in, okay, but it gives you email addresses for all of them, and then it can sync to your contact system, your autoresponder, and you can send them an autoresponder, right? So for example, yesterday I got 98 new email addresses that visited Simple Programmer just from that, and then I have them in an email sequence. Now, so far it looks legit. I don't know. Over time I'll see if any of these guys purchase and what their activity level is. But I got over a 30% open rate on that first email, and you have to be careful, obviously, with this. Like the first email basically says, "Hey, feel free to unsubscribe," right? Like but and then I'm giving them an offer for. In fact, here let me see what you guys think about this real quick here. But this is extremely promising. Like if this works, even if you only get even if only 20% of those emails are valid or are valuable, it would be huge, right? So
yep.
See this.
I need to
yeah. Okay.
I need to clean up my active campaign. I haven't scrubbed my list in 6 months.
So here's how I did it. So I did this. I basically said, "What is up, my friend? Wait, what? I know what you're thinking. Who is this guy?" Well, I'm John Sonmez from Simple Programmer, and I use sophisticated power of the internet to figure out that you visited Simple Programmer yesterday. So that's why I'm sending you an email. But wait. Yes, I know what you're thinking. What the hell? Why would this guy send me an email? Was he looking over my shoulder? What gives? And so if you want to unsubscribe and never hear from me again, just click right here and go for it. And there's the unsubscribe link. No hard feelings. But wait. Before you click that link, which you can do at any time, you might want to at least hear what I'm about to tell you next, because it could change your entire life. I'm serious. You see, Simple Programmer isn't just like any other programming-related webpage or blog. Simple Programmer is all about developing yourself as a programmer, realistically increasing your earning potential and managing your career, and so much more. If you're a programmer and you're into personal development, you're in the absolute right place. If you read this far and haven't hit that unsubscribe link yet, I'm going to reward you by giving you some really valuable information tomorrow on how you can make some serious side income, advance your career, get a job or better job, and maybe even become a famous developer. I'm 100% serious here. What I'm going to show you tomorrow, I personally used to make over $3 million. I promise you this is not a joke or exaggeration. I can and will prove it to you. So you can unsubscribe now, or you can wait till tomorrow to see what I got in store for you. The choice is yours. But you've got nothing to lose by sticking around for one more day. You can always unsubscribe tomorrow.
Nice. Well, how many unsubscribes did you get?
Let's see what I've got so far. I don't think there was very many. I mean, the email just went out today for them.
Oh, today as in early morning today?
Yeah. So.
And you already got 30% open rates?
I have, 30.1% open rate and 5 unsubscribes out of 93 people. So 5.4% unsubscribe.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So this could work out really well.
But did anyone report spam? Because the other thing is the other side of the equation where you get spam reports and then you're basically So here's.
I don't see any spam reports on it. So.
Okay. The other side
is that's why I worded it that way as well.
The other side of the problem is like if people report spam, you lose the email list you already have of people. So the third, I think right now you don't have a traffic problem.
Right, exactly.
And these are like your fringe people compared to the real people who could buy from you. They could buy from you, but they're fringe. So
potentially, I mean, we'll see how it works, right? That's how we'll know by the numbers. I mean, potentially also these are people that are smart enough to not type their emails into opt-in boxes. A lot of times the people that respond to pop-ups are idiots, right? Not everyone, but a lot of times that's the case. And a lot of those times those people are not making a lot of money and they're dumb, basically.
So,
they're the bears.
So then the average bear in this case is like, this guy figured this out. There's no way in hell I'm giving him my credit card.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. So far, it looks good. We'll see if these people purchase and what I put them. The next sequence they're going into from here is the blogging course sequence. So that's a very light, high value sequence that just gives them a ton of value. And so I want to see how the people progress through that. I've got them all tagged, so I can check it out. It's not cheap. Like, I'm paying $297 a month for 1,000 emails per month, basically from there. But we'll see what happens if it's profitable. I mean, it only has to sell like think about it this way, okay? Let's say I'm paying $297, $300 a month for 1,000 email addresses from this service that I wouldn't get otherwise. If I make basically $300 in sales from those 1,000 email addresses, it's free, right? Within that that time period. So it's well worth
30 cents per email subscriber. That's what you're paying right now.
So let's see if it's worth it, right? It's worth doing the experiment to see, because I can scale it up if I need to.
So okay, that's interesting. Let me ask you something. With the flow thing going on, you probably won't get the data for another couple of weeks because their sales cycle is much longer, right?
Well, I think they have an instant thing now, right? So they made a lower price course, and I think we're selling that as well. Let me see what the actual offer is here.
They who?
The Flow Project
guys. Yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
It's what's his name? David I always forget his name. Coder.
Steven Kotler.
Steven Kotler. Yes, that's the one. So
you're doing an affiliate promotion?
Yeah. Yep. Let me see what simple programmer. Okay, so I guess maybe they have a downsell because they still have that same funnel to access your free training funnel. So they're doing a webinar type of thing. So it'll be a while before I know the results.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do some hypothetical situations here. If this continues, if this pays off just like it did last time, you can continue down this path, and nothing needs to be changed. Just don't worry about it. Just continue doing promotions as you're doing so far. However, if this tanks, what's your next move?
To do another affiliate promotion. I mean, I'm not giving up just because this tanks. If in the next 3 months everything is tanking,
like what is the timeline you're giving yourself before you reevaluate this?
Well, I'm certainly not making any decisions while we're in the while people are not allowed to leave their homes,
which could be 6 months.
Yeah. Right. But I'm not like in this period of time. It doesn't make sense to make shifting business decisions at this point.
Right. So we're going to continue down the path of doing what we're doing, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I would say my course is set for probably a good 3 months of continuing down this path. If I end up doing like 6 promotions and all of them are flop, then it's enough time to because we have this, our timeline is basically this, right? The first event of the timeline was nothing is in crisis situation, but there might be a crisis on the horizon, right? We passed through that one. It didn't seem to affect very much. People were still buying, right?
What?
Before this is pre-corona hitting the US.
It was perfection that we didn't wait for. Well, I don't know. Maybe the entrepreneurship book summary would have done better right now. It's so hard to tell.
We passed through that phase regardless.
Right.
Now we're in the second phase, which is crisis phase 1. Okay. Now from here, we may go to continual heightened awareness phase where it stretches out for a long period of time, but people have adjusted. But that'll be a new phase because people haven't adjusted to what's happening right now. But if you're locked in your home for 2 months, it'll become the normal thing, right? You'll adjust to it, and things will peter out or even out. Or we can go into super crisis mode if that happens, right? Or we can go into things are resolved mode. So it doesn't make sense to to try and anticipate which one of those we're going to go into and what's going to happen. What makes sense is to continue down the path and collect the data, and then let the data tell you what you should do next, rather than trying to anticipate. I mean, you don't know. Like you said, maybe the entrepreneurship would sell more now. So just if that's in your plan, then continue down your plan and down the path.
The question, maybe like the initial question was, should you change or would you change course? The second question is, would it make sense to do a different kind or different tone or different kind of promotion that would make better sense for this situation? Are there different things that will sell better right now compared to what has sold in the past, given people's buying power, given people's current situation and what they think is more important to do or important in this scenario?
I think that's probably true. I think most of that is on the marketing approach that you take to it, right?
Not what you sell?
Not a fundamental shift in your, I mean, maybe if you have options of things to sell, you make the choices of what you're going to sell based on this, but you don't make fundamental shifts in the product offerings that you have.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's fair. So in your case, as like, since you guys are heavily affiliate based, is there a specific kind of product that would work better? Have you actually kind of considered that?
Yeah, I mean, look at, well, you can look at, you can answer that question by looking at the stocks and seeing which ones are going up right now, right? What's going up? Blue Apron, what's going up? Netflix, right?
Mm-hmm.
Companies like that are providing some kind of service.
At home service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
But again, it's hard to, it'd be better to craft the messaging than to try and change the product, right? Like you can, whatever the messaging is what's going to determine, right? So you can say like, what was I going to say? So how can you make it so that you're crafting a message that says, while you're staying at home, you have plenty of time to be, doing this, right? That's the message, right? You're seeing what you're seeing. Here's a good example, right? I'm pretty connected in the fitness industry, and every single fitness person, do you know what they're selling right now?
Oh, they're killing it with a home fitness program.
Video.
But this is like now the question is, if they
or shipping equipment or supplements to your house.
If they, well, the supplement industry is blowing up right now, right? Yeah. The greens powder and all of that shit is just through the roof. Like people are buying that stuff up. So if you are a fitness instructor, you never had a home workout program because you were all about weights and lifting in gym and lifting in weights. Are you going to go and create a new fitness program for home fitness?
No. I'll tell you why. Because what you're doing with that is you're doing a hustle. Okay. It's like selling t-shirts on Facebook, right? Like, sure. If you go and you're like, fuck, let me quickly create a home workout system, right? First of all, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Okay. Because you're not an expert in that. So you're just going to make it just to do a cash grab. Okay. So you're going to make some shoddy fucking program and you're going to sell it. And you're going to make a lot of cash because your audience is going to be like, that's what I need. I need a home workout program. And they're going to buy the fuck out of it. But you're going to be losing your credibility when you're doing it. And then second, you're going to create a product that's not going to work for the long term because people aren't going to long term buy from you something that is different than what they signed up for. And so, yeah, maybe you'll make some money in the cash grab, but the most important thing is that you'll be derailing your business because yes, you can make that money quickly, but what should you be doing in the long term to grow your business that is actually sustainable, that is actually going to benefit your business versus doing a quick cash grab, right? Now, if you have the opportunity, if you're like, okay, well, actually I do have this, like some guys are dusting off like, yeah, I have this home workout program that I haven't been selling for a while. Yeah, fuck yeah, you might as well put it up there and sell it because hey, it's not a big deal. It's not going to require a lot of resources. But if you're like completely steering the ship the other direction because you're like chasing gold, that's a bad plan in my mind.
Yeah, the way that I see it is that you take what you're already doing and you adapt it. So if you have the online course, maybe you adapt it, you have an extra video in there that says, if you're stuck at home right now, here's a study plan, or if you're under these circumstances that are different from normal, right? But then the rest of it is all the same stuff. if you're one of those fitness people that had people coming to your gym and you were working out with them, what you do is you say, hey, look, I've got a $20 video, and it's basically going to say, if you were doing these exercises at the gym, here's how to do them at home on the cheap, right? And just do something real simple that, you know, keeps you top of mind. You know, I'm going to send out a video every week, right? So that you kind of stay in that until things clear up. And then they're like, well, he helped me get through the coronavirus stupid thing, but I really do want him to coach me through this garbage. And so they'll come back to your gym.
Right.
And it's that kind of stuff where you're adapting to the situation, but you're not creating a whole new thing.
Right. So the question, like, it's the degree of adaptation that we're talking about here, because
I have a call in 10 minutes, guys.
Okay, well then we should just
you can keep going. I'll just drop off in 10.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things
too, but
yeah.
Well, here's the simplest way to put this. Here's why you cannot try and figure out what people are thinking. If you could, then just invest in the stock market, and because you see what I'm saying, like, because it's the same thing. You have to like provide your product and service and keep on going down. But if you're trying to anticipate the market and how people are going to respond, then you're better off just investing in the stock market and anticipating that and shorting certain stocks, buying certain stocks, because then if you have that level of insight, right? Otherwise, what you're going to do is you're going to be, you know, you're shooting, you know, again, to use the book, like versus bullets versus cannonballs, right? You're shooting cannonballs like into nothing. Like, you don't know where the market's, you don't know like how people are going to respond to this. Maybe people will be buying more shit, right? I mean, who would have predicted the toilet paper run? If you knew that the toilet paper run was coming, you know, you could have made some serious cash, right? But
John's still hurting from the lack of toilet paper. I can tell that.
Oh man.
He's still walking around funny because of the lack of toilet paper.
I got a hose, you know.
If he has as many conference t-shirts as I do, he'll be okay.
It's not the problem that he doesn't have enough conference t-shirts. He doesn't know where to dispose of them.
Oh, you just wash them.
There we go.
Get some high-power detergent.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
They sell that on Amazon.
What do you think? So another. What about you, Chuck? How are you guys? How are you? Like, I know last time we were talking, you were on the threads. So how are you going to handle this?
I mean, I'm still getting, you know, like I said, I'm getting some interest. For the most part, I'm just talking to people and then doing what I can to prop up the community as best I can. And what I'm finding is that a lot of that is creating opportunities for me. So, you know, doing the remote conferences. I have a sponsorship call with a company on Monday to talk about a React Native conference. They were sponsoring the in-person one that got canceled. So I'm pretty sure that I can get them to just, you know, send me a piece of that. Talking to a bunch of other folks about the same kind of thing. A lot of people want to do the conferences, and I'm just charging enough to kind of get me by. I raised the price significantly, but you know, charging what I can. And I'm also, you know, letting people know, hey, look, if you lost your job or something, you know, let me know and we'll see if we can figure something out. But the meetups are turning out to be a major boon there.
How many people are showing up for your meetups or whatever you're doing there?
So I put the page up yesterday and I've already got, you know, 10 or 12 people on each of them. And so I'm expecting by the time they go live in a few weeks, I'm going to have hundreds. What?
How did you announce it?
I just tweeted it, honestly. I'm still working on getting the word out in other ways.
And how many total meetups have you created?
So I decided to do, I'm doing it for 5 communities: JavaScript, Ruby, Angular, React, and Vue. And I'm doing 2. I'm doing one in the evening on one day and then one in the morning another day. And that way people in Europe can join in the one in the morning, and people in the US. And if people are willing to get up a little bit early in Asia, then they can join the one in the afternoon here. And so, yeah, it's a total of 10. They're going to be an hour and a half long. Just real low key presentations, 20 minutes long. It doesn't have to be super fancy or anything, not conference level anyway. And yeah, people are, but we're also going to just kind of have a chat, and so we'll have a conversation out of the chat, and I'll bring some of the participants into the video conference, and we'll just have some community time. So I'm thinking like 2 talks for 20 minutes each, and then some community time where we can just sit and chat about what's going on in whatever community.
Are you paying? You're gonna get people to pay for it?
So on those, at least for the first month, no, but I'm going to be promoting the remote conference, and I figure I can sell a bunch of tickets that people will pay for that. So it's promotional, but it's going to help prop up the community. And I think really what a lot of this boils down to, and if we're going to go do thoughts in a minute, this is my thought, is just talk to your community, your customer base, find out where they're at, and then just figure out what you have that you can do to serve them.
Okay.
But yeah, that's essentially what it's boiling down to for me is those kinds of events.
My thoughts are winter is coming, motherfuckers. Actually, it's here. It's too late.
You
miss it. If you're the grasshopper instead of the ant, well, this isn't the first time this is going to happen. It's going to happen again and again and again. And so next time, be the ant instead of the grasshopper. And think about it. Like, it's funny. I think at the height of like everything going up, I made a video called "Winter is Coming," because I was already like stockpiling. I was like getting ready.
Not toilet papers.
Not toilet papers, no. But like I was preserving, like budget wise, like living very, very conservatively, even though all this money was coming in and way, maybe 10% of my income I was living at. And I was getting a lot of flack, and I was like, it's because I know winter is coming, because it will come. And that was, and people thought it was kind of ridiculous at that point, but it always comes. Winter, it doesn't, and look at how quickly it came. That's the thing. It's like, because everyone thinks that they're going to have time to prepare for it. But when you look at that chart, the stock, and it's like climb for 4 years, and then it's like, boom, 4 years wiped out in 4 days. That's what happens. That's when winter comes. It just comes like that. And then Black Swan events happen, and so you cannot anticipate them coming. You have to be prepared ahead of time. You don't have enough time to say, oh, it looks like it's on the horizon. There's no such thing as that. So that's why you have to be ready all the time, especially in the good times when things are the best. That's when you got to be working the hardest.
Yeah. I don't know if last time I talked about the Stockdale paradox, but I want to talk about it again today because it feels like
you did.
Oh shit! Yeah, I'm out of thoughts. But I want to tell people that story again because it's just so important. Jim Stockdale was the admiral, was a prisoner of war in the Vietnam War. He was a naval fighter pilot who got taken down. And in the prisons, he realized something very interesting, which is the prisoners of war who survived were not the ones who were pessimists, who were thinking, oh my God, shit is over, nothing's going to work. This is so brutal. These camps are, because the prison of war camps in Vietnam were some of the most brutal torture chambers that humanity has seen. So most of them didn't survive. The pessimists didn't survive, but the optimists didn't survive either. The optimists who were like, hey, I'll be free by Christmas. I'll be free by Easter. I'll be free by Thanksgiving. I'll be free by Christmas. And they just died of hope. But the people who survived, they believed that they would see it through, but they also believed that it is really hard right now. So they believed that it is going to work, that I will prevail, but they also accepted the problems and the challenges that existed in the moment. They did not deny them, but they believed it. So don't have to be pessimistic, don't have to be overly optimistic that this is no big deal, everything's going to be fine, and everything's going to, none of that shit. You got to know this is hard, and also that you will make it through. Realize that life is going to be hard, and it will make life easier. So that's the thought.
We're fucked, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Stay safe until next week. Don't spread the plague.
Telling you. No virtual fist bump.
I gotta run, but I'm gonna run away from people. I'll run. I'll
okay.
literally run. I'll be like,
elbow
shit.
Bumps.
There we go. All right.
Talk to you guys later.
Yeah.